Welcome back to our 28th episode. We're sailing again. In the Baltic Sea. We're on our way. We have a few more nice shots of the Gota Canal, from these quirky birdhouses to just a little more of a landscape. This part of Sweden is not like the rocky fjords of Norway. It's very much a forest and farming region, primarily pastures. We're now a week after midsummer, so some of these traditional decorations are still in place, but the flower ornaments, for example, are unfortunately past their prime. But these were everywhere. And we saw these unmanned kayak rental kiosks in several places. What a great idea. Way to go, Sweden. Kayak-o-mat. We are fans. There are truly some beautiful places along the canal. We struggled with the locks, the delays, and the depth, but the people and the countryside are really nice. Aside from the locks, it is gorgeous. We saw our first Viking runestone with their unique written language and soderkoping. It's from 1,000 years ago.
Soderkoping, July 5th. It's quite a big town for being along the Gota Trail. And you can see right there a sailboat is getting ready to go into the locks today.
We've reached the end, contacted the border police, who kindly came to meet us, and we're checked out. And we're back in salt water. Yippee! We're floating again, a little higher, literally and figuratively. The Baltic Sea only has about 25% of the salt that the North Sea contains, but it's definitely salty. Look at that beautiful sunny day on the water. Our first destination is an anchorage near a small community of Ankerruden. I'm sure my pronunciation is atrocious. It'll be a long day, around 54 nautical miles, at least 10 hours, but it actually turns out a little longer. We're on our way early. We have to navigate a bit of a twisty, turning route amongst the first islands of the archipelago, but it's a beautiful day, and we're loving this new view of Sweden.
I think so. Can you see both sides of the cable?
At one narrow area, we pass a channel with a cable ferry. These have a steel cable pulling them back and forth across a narrow waterway. It's really energy efficient, but we need to time it correctly, making sure they've relaxed the trailing cable so that we don't get caught on it. They have a system of lights to let us know when the cable has been dropped to the bottom of the channel, but we struggled to fully understand it, so we relied on seeing the cable drop, or in other circumstances, we contacted them by VHF. Here, between the red and the green, was quite narrow, a tight squeeze. And we're on our way to the anchorage. Unfortunately, the first one that we picked is too tight. There isn't enough room to drop enough scope, enough chain, so that we could still swing clear of the shore. So we move on to another anchorage, just a few miles away. This one, however, is all granite, at least at the depths that will accommodate our draft. There is a marshy area a bit further in, but it's too shallow for us. And since our anchor won't bite into granite, we'll move along again, third try. And that third choice, a series of mooring buoys, were all taken by the time that we arrived around 8:30 p.m. So that wouldn't work either. Now we need a fourth alternative. Clever Marie finally finds a fishing pier and a tiptoe route to get to it. This was actually the tightest passage of the season. Literally only a couple of meters on either side of the Brees to squeeze between the rocks. I was stressing, but the Admiral had confidence in her routing and in my steering, and we made it. We finally tied off at 9 p.m. and watched one of the most beautiful sunsets of the season. One of many, but this one was magnificent. There were a couple of other sailboats out here on the deep end of this pier, but it was definitely a fishing pier. There were no services here for yachters. The weather was going to turn the next afternoon, so we got to bed early, up early, and planned to get to our next destination before the 25-knot winds picked up. Our destination is Delarol, a short 30 miles away. At a conservative 5 knots of speed, we need about 6 hours to make these miles, so we left at 6:30 a.m., arriving at 12:30 p.m.
Well, it's July 11th, and unfortunately I don't have my mic again, so it's probably a lot of wind noise. Kind of foggy this morning. We're making our way to Dala, where we hopefully we'll hunker down for the big winds tonight. It's 7:30 in the morning and we've been out here for an hour. Chilly. 12 degrees. See these sailboats coming through in the fog.
We start to notice a lot of sailboats now. It's prime summer sailing season, vacation season. It's July 10th. It turns out that you need to arrive early to find an open slip here. We arrived at 12:30 and there were only 3 slips left. By 2 p.m., they were all taken. That's a learning for us. Marinas in Sweden fill out early in the afternoon, so arrive by 2 p.m. in general if you want one. Calling ahead sometimes can secure a reservation, but not reliably. They typically say first come, first served. The strong winds arrived, but we were comfortably tied off in a well-protected marina, leeward of a highland, and relaxed. Dalarö has a very nice pizza restaurant, another historic bistro, and we ate well for a couple of days.
Cool room in this old building we're in here in Sweden in Dalarö. It's a billiards room, but all of the curved and arched ceilings, it goes through this little tunnel. And this is the coal chute. Cool, hey?
And we met this guy, who was a little annoyed about
You're
us
no
interrupting
threat.
his breakfast. But only just a little. He didn't run far. He's not a huge animal, but judging by his full rack, he's a full adult. A tiny deer. We then visited Stockholm, a city built on 14 islands.
Today is July 4th, and we are in Stockholm. Right downtown at the central station.
And we're on our way to the Vasa Museum. Special today, Swedish roasted reindeer.
The old town, the palace, and the waterfront were really nice. But for us, the highlight was the Vasa. This is an amazing story. Sad, but still amazing. Sad for those who lost their lives nearly 400 years ago on the ship. She was built to be the flagship of the powerful Swedish kingdom and launched in 1628. And then on August 10th of 1628, she sank on her maiden voyage in her home harbor, within a mile of her original launch point and only about 400 feet from shore. Sweden was the biggest power in Northern Europe and controlled the majority of the lands bordering the Baltic Sea. After losing several ships in storms and battles, the Vasa was commissioned and constructed as the new flagship. It was powerful, with 56 cannons on 2 decks, but also it was unstable, with too much weight or mass high up above the water, and it overwhelmed the ability of the ballast to keep her stable. 2 short squalls were all that it took to heel her far enough for the lower gun ports to begin taking on water, and she was quickly overwhelmed and sunk, taking 30 souls with her. The cannons were salvaged in the 1700s, And then she was lost again until the 1950s, when an intrepid Swede, an amateur naval archaeologist, found her again. And he spearheaded the salvage operation, which took place in 1961. Once floated, for the next 17 years, she was preserved by constantly spraying her with a water-soluble wax, PEG. For 17 years they sprayed it. And then for the next 9 years, 9 years, she was dried out. And then taken to a new museum for display. Awesome. 26 years to preserve it. Here we are looking at a warship, the pride of a kingdom, built 397 years ago. And then it spent 333 years under the water. Wow. Another amazing artifact that we've been able to see. We're very lucky people. As the flagship, it was meant to impress, and it did. It was adorned with hundreds of sculptures, real and fantastic, along with those 56 cannons. The historians and archaeologists have been able to determine some of the paint colors who reproduced them here. They included mythical sea creatures, warriors, coats of arms, and so on.
Machine of war. An enemy ship has been spotted, and an engagement is imminent. All hands immediately scramble for their action stations. The crew set the sails, deck, and sides of the hull of Gota. Pikes, muskets, and axes are distributed. The barber breaks out his bandages, saw, and knife in preparation for amputations. Below on the gun decks, the soldiers take up their positions by the cannon. Cannonballs, handspikes, rammers, and swabs are positioned beside each gun.
And then it's back to the Brees, and we're off in the morning. This day to Furusen, our last port in Sweden.
Good morning, it's July 12th, and we are getting ready to leave this little town called Dalarö. And it was a nice town, it really was. There's a hill that goes up here. Let me zoom in so you can see it really quickly here. Up through those trees. And I walked at least 4 times yesterday. You can see the person coming down in the white. Very steep. Didn't get easier. Thought it would get easier as the days went on. But we're going to get fuel this morning and then off to our next stop 41 miles away.
It's along a shipping route frequented by many of the Baltic Sea ferries. We selected these last 2 ports based on local recommendations and local sailing guidebooks, both proven valuable on our journeys. It's a nice sail in the archipelago today, with some tight passages and beautiful scenery. These are very pretty islands. We're seeing a lot of pleasure craft this morning. And then the ferries. These ferries are coming from Finland and the Baltic states on their way to Stockholm. In prior years, there would also have been ferries to St. Petersburg. We understand that it's a beautiful city, and we're very sad that we're not able to safely visit this year while sailing in the Baltic Sea. Maybe someday in the future we'll get to go there. We're heading into this narrow gap to our berth for this evening, and so is this ferry. We can see our marina, Furusen, ahead of us, less than a mile to go. And a cable ferry, again, is running across our path. He's tied by a cable to both shores and uses that cable to pull himself across. We'll need to wait again until he drops the tension on that trailing cable so that we don't hit it. So we slow down.
What are you doing?
I'm driving out of his way
Slowly?
at 4.5 knots. We just had to get out of the way.
We wait on the cable ferry and get out of the way of that huge cruise ship. This one, the Viking line ship, the Glory.
So here's our destination on the bottom left. We decided to let the cruise ship go first. I don't want to be in there trying to get on a dock. Well, he's waking us.
She was built in 2021 for 225 million euros, $250 million.
And Marie's getting the lines ready.
And she's 223 meters in length. Huge. Once we allow her to pass, we turn and we follow her into that little passage and we dock in Ferguson.
And that ship is the Viking Glory from Mariehamn in Åland, which is where we're going to go tomorrow.
Ferusund, the northern part of Sweden, Stockholm's archipelago, just before casting off across the Strait of Bothnia to Åland. And there is the northern breeze. You can see her mast. Stand up.
Don't tell me to stand up. You're not my boss. You're not the boss of me.
Okay. Sit down and take it through the salty shield of the Dodger.
The Baltic Queen.
I wonder how long it takes to get to Estonia, to Tallinn from here. Is that
It's probably earlier this morning they left, I'm guessing, or this afternoon even.
from Estonia?
Yeah, because it's across from Helsinki, right? How far is that?
I don't know, but we're in Sweden.
We're not far from Helsinki.
I know, but like we'll wake up there.
After a quiet night, watching the cruise ships over a sundowner, we're on transit again. Today we're heading out early across the Gulf of Bothnia. It's 45 miles to Mariehamn in the new country. Yep, Mariehamn, or translated to English, Marie Port. I might take a Marie home. And on my birthday, a great way to spend it.
They're all over.
Sailing, saltwater, to a new country. I'm very grateful. Here we go. Åland, here we come.
We're taking pictures of them and they're taking pictures of us.
More cruise ships. This one, Burka Cruise Lines, who operate primarily in the Baltic Sea, between Scandinavia, the Baltic states, and Northern Europe.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Erin. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Love you.
And this is the Finnish cruise ferry Silja Line, likely traveling from Helsinki today.
And this really smart fella decided to go between us. And there be the Baltic Princess. Woohoo!
So that's that Tallinn. And Estonia.
Estonia,
The Finnish flag on it.
where we're going to be in a few weeks. It says it's out of Mariehamn here. Marie? Ham. She can be a ham.
That makes 4 cruise and ferry companies that we've seen in the last 18 hours. The sea is a common way of traveling here. We're having a great sail today, free of the archipelago's islands in tight quarters.
A new day, a new country.
Åland is a Swedish-speaking semi-autonomous part of Finland, and Mariehamn is their capital city. We started back into some islands, and in the narrowest passage, out of nowhere, came the welcoming party. Or boarding party. Surprise! They captured us in a place where we had nowhere to turn. Not that we would have.
Right. From Canada. We left from Halifax.
And we went to St. John's, Newfoundland, to Greenland, to Iceland, Scotland. Yes.
No, so we were checked out of Sweden.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, 5 kilometers.
right.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'll check you out. That's already the end.
Okay.
Okay, so we are going to Mariehamn tonight. If you need to find us, we'll be on Mariehamn.
Yeah, no problem. Check you out.
Okay.
They checked our passports and our ship's papers and gave us clear passage onto our destination tonight. So that's it for this video. We've seen the Swedish Archipelago, the amazing Vasa, and made our way to a new country. Happy birthday, and on to new adventures. We'll see you soon in Åland, Finland, and beyond. By the way, why watch our channel when there are so many sailing channels? I think maybe it can be because we keep moving, keep exploring, keep learning. Not all the channels are doing that. We hope that you find it entertaining and informative. And if so, please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe, or even share the link with your circle of friends. We'll see you soon, beyond the sea.